Welcome to Design to Help Your Business Grow. I'm your host, Randy Lynn Johnson with Pasley Commercial Interiors. So, Robin, I've heard from some people, they don't like the idea of bringing in an interior designer because they're afraid that it's going to slow the process down. Mm-hmm. Have you heard this?
I've heard this and the cost and the timing of things from a couple of different people in the past.
Which is not good because a business owner wants to save time and money.
Seriously.
So it almost feels like two strikes against you from the get-go.
It does.
But if I know you, and I do a little bit, those are things that you can actually help save time and save money.
Yes. And this is where it's difficult because I think some people, because they think of interior design as the icing on the cake instead of part of the cake. Maybe like the cream filling that's in the middle of it.
Oh, yeah. Maybe a little like curd in the middle, something tasty.
They think of it as something that we can just add at the end. So even if we're working with architects, we often get the call to work on the project when the plans are finished and they're ready to go to permitting, but they just want to help, they want help selecting the materials. And one of the reasons we found this to be problematic or just challenging to the timing of the project is that our process takes, sometimes 6 to 8 weeks for us to go through all the steps in our process to get to those selections. Mm-hmm. But more than that, it's because when we do our interview with our business owners or the point person that is our client, we learn so much about the function of the space, the workforce that's in it, the clients that they're going to serve, and the history of that company that almost always affects the layout. And not because we want to change things, but because it inevitably does.
Right.
And I think it's just a difference in perspective. Yeah. I have so much respect for architects, but we just see things differently.
Yeah. So you're not an architect.
No,
You don't want to be an architect.
And I don't want to be one.
But I think what you offer, you really complement architectures because you do think a little different. Like there are some overlap for sure. If we had the Venn diagram, we can see architects, interior designers, and there's overlap.
Yeah.
But you also see things differently that they're not thinking. Maybe they're looking at it, okay, structurally, this wall, this window, blah, blah, blah. But you are looking at it functionality and aesthetics and all of that.
All of those things that can affect the overall design. And so we found that if we can come into the project early and actually partner with the architect to not, step on toes or take any of their, what they want to bring to the project away from them, but to inform what we've learned. So if we can come in early. So for us, the way that we get connected to business owners a lot of times is through either the commercial real estate agent who is helping them find their space, the architect who somehow has been connected to the owner already, and then sometimes it's the general contractor. In all of those situations, if we can get brought into the process early on, when they're just starting to talk about the space and just learn about the business then we can often partner with the architect and streamline the process with the architect and the GC to just bring the right information in early to make it not have those bottlenecks and the slowdown that we have experienced. I'm not lying when I get why they can say that sometimes is because when we're brought in the project, by the time we brought the changes that the client ultimately wanted, we had to go back through and splice, the plans into permitting, to get those changes applied. And, because we realized that they wanted some things that they hadn't been heard on previously.
Right. And so the architect didn't work that into
it. So
the
now
original
we
plan.
added costs. So now we're, okay, think about that. They've gotten funding for one thing,
Sure.
but they really wanted something else that they just didn't have to take to the bank the first time. So now we're going back around with some of that stuff. And I'm not exactly sure why this feels a little early for people. I think the thought is because we're icing.
Yep.
We don't need the icing yet.
Yep.
We're still whipping up the cake batter. But I think if those three entities, the architect, the commercial real estate agent, and
Contractor.
the contractor can imagine that we could partner with them, and bring some perspective early. And mostly it's about us getting introduced to the business owner and being allowed to have that interview with them where we learn about them. Then it helps us shape what is necessary. And it's true, we might add some costs, but it's not just wasted money. It's the thing that the client really wanted. It's the look they were trying to get, or that feeling, or that function, or that layout, or, the thing they hadn't thought of, that when we kind of dig deep with them, we find out, oh, this really is a part of your values.
Right.
And it's important for them to have that element, whether it's functional or visual.
At our next podcast, I want to unpack a little bit more about working with business owners. So
Okay.
we'll visit that a little bit more. And in the meantime, all you GCs, architects, and CRE guys, call Robin early, right?
Yeah.
We want to get you in early, and then you're going to ultimately help the whole process. Like, it's going to be
Yes.
a dream.
Absolutely.
Everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
In an increasingly competitive market, the merits of using interior design as a strategic growth tool can make all the difference in not just surviving, but thriving.
Hasley Commercial Interiors, designed to help your business grow.